Hey guys, look at this money I have. It's $100 trillion.
Have occasionally run across like a bear or something.
The baby dragon is the best. I love her so much.
Hey there, welcome back to the Reading Queens podcast. Today we're here with a very special guest of honor, our very own Hanna Sandvig. Hello, Hanna.
Hello.
We're excited to finally do this interview for her because she has a book coming out tomorrow.
I finally have a book out to talk about.
Yes, we are excited. But I'm Valia. Hello.
I'm Kay.
And I'm Tess.
Yeah, we're just going to hang out and ask Hanna a bunch of questions. So let's do that. If you've been around since the beginning, you heard Hanna introduce herself in probably the very first episode.
I think it was the four of us on the first episode.
Yeah, I think so. So it's been a while because we're in season 3, but we're going to have her introduce herself again. So Hanna, tell us about yourself.
Hello. Yes, I'm Hanna. I live in Canada, unlike every other queen on the podcast, in BC, in the mountains, which is amazing right now. I had my first beach day yesterday, and it made me so happy because we have just lake beaches and the mountains all around, and it's wonderful. I've got 3 kids and a cat and a husband, and I draw a lot and write not as much as I draw, but a fair bit. And I bake lots of stuff and try and make people hungry with my books. There's more stuff, I'm sure, but that's...
I like your order of the important things in your life that you listed. It was kid, cat, husband.
Yeah.
I was he is the most important. But I was figuring I say the kids and then I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't have them by myself. Anyway, also, I didn't sleep very well last night, so we're going to see how it goes.
Fun stuff. Okay, so let's talk about your book that's coming out, finally. We're so excited.
Yes.
The Glass Gate. Tell us what it is about. So you write Fairytale Retellings.
I do write Fairytale Retellings.
From fairy, in fairy.
Yes, fairy with an E. Tale retellings. It's very clever written down, I believe, but less clever when I try to explain it out loud.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I write fairy tales, and they're all in the same world, and they're interconnected, but you can read whichever one you want, is kind of how I set them up. So this one is Cinderella, and it is my second full-length novel, and it is even a fuller length than my first one, because it's my first one that I've written in dual POV, so Tiernan's chapters, took up an extra 20,000 words of the book. So he's there. It is about Ella, who is a human girl who has some anxiety issues, which is very me, and an evil stepmother, which is not me at all, thankfully. And she escapes to Fairy with her friend Amber, who, if you've read the first book, you know about Amber. And they go to a party, and she meets a guy, and it turns out he is the crown prince of the Sealy Fae, and he needs someone to pose as his future bride for, reasons. And she offers to do it because she wants to stay in Fairy and work on her design portfolio because she is a dress designer, and Fairy has much cooler dresses than the human world does. So
It's true.
Yeah, but she doesn't tell him that she's a human, because why would you? Humans aren't taken care of very well in Fairy, so she decides to hide that, and then of course they catch feelings, and there's all sorts of issues. And also a baby dragon, because why wouldn't there be?
It's a very lovely way of describing your book. I love it.
This is my half-asleep way of describing my book. So.
Yeah, it's great though. You covered all the high points.
There you go.
So that's all you need to know, really. But let's talk about what inspired you to write it, and also just talk about the anxiety and the mental health issue with it, too, because you said that anxiety person is you.
It is me.
You relate to your character. So let's just talk about that. What inspired you to write it, and then kind of talk about the mental health aspect of it.
Right. I think my purpose with my books is really to write books that are just like a safe, cozy, happy place for people. I feel like I used to play that down and be like, oh, they're just, fluff, whatever. But I've had a lot of people reach out to me and just say that, like, when they were going through a really hard time, that was just exactly what they needed. They just needed something safe, something fun, something light, but just still with, like, heart, right? And some feels to it. So that's why I write them. I do have anxiety, and I have always realized I could not write like dystopian thrillers or something. Like, the amount of time it takes to write a book, you spend so much time in that world as opposed to just reading a book or watching a movie, right? You're like done in a few hours, whatever. But for me, especially, it takes me a while, is it could be a year of my life, and a series could be a decade. So I wanted to make it somewhere that I really wanted to spend time in, not a scary, weird place that has all sorts of trauma involved. And then, yeah, I do have anxiety, and it's something that has always been really, I don't know, it's been really rough for me for a lot of my life. And I feel like I'm in a place now where I recognize what it is, which is very helpful. For a long time, if you have mental health issues, you know that if you don't know what they are, you just think it's normal and that everything is terrible. Because what else would you believe, right? That's what your brain's telling you. So it's got to be true. And once I figured it out and figured out some things that help me out quite a bit. Obviously, I'm not like a cured, amazing person who never has anxiety, or else I would have slept last night. The more I've learned about it, the more it makes me want to talk to other people about it. Because I found that when I talk to people, a lot of people say, oh, me too. But they might have felt embarrassed about it, or they like kind of know they should do something about it, but like they don't know where to start. Or some people just don't even realize that it's anxiety until I start to tell them about my experiences. Because you think of anxiety as just being scared or anxious or shy or something. But there's a lot, like the insomnia, there's a lot of short-temperedness, like other things that really feed into it that you might not realize if your anxiety isn't super bad. Anyway, so I wanted with this book to write a book that might help people who have anxiety just to feel seen. And maybe some people who are on the edge be like, oh, I wonder if that is a problem I have. But all of that without being a book that would make someone anxious. Because have you ever read books where they like describe people's like mental health so like viscerally that you start to like feel all tight in your chest and like you're going to have an anxiety attack reading the book? Because I have had that happen. So that is not what happens with this book. I kept it pretty light still, and it's not like the point of the book even, but my beta readers already, I've been surprised by how many people have gone through and said, wow, like this is me. This is like how I feel. And just found it, very validating, which then I like tear up a little bit and then we're all crying. I've apparently made 2 or 3 people cry already and the book's not even out yet. And I'm like, yes. But like happy tears, they said. So
Aww.
There you go. So I don't know, I feel like all my books have sort of a point I want to get across, but it's never like I want to be a preachy person. This one pretty much just is, people have anxiety. It's cool. Take care of yourself. We love you. All right.
I do. I love it. I love that you said that, like, you want to have people be seen and like, in a way that it's not like anxiety inducing.
Right. You don't want to trigger anyone.
Right, exactly. But like sometimes like that, even the self-help books that you read about it are like they like trigger you to have it because it's just like so much. So having like that safe place in this like cozy book with like your favorite, fairy tales, like pretty much, I don't know, the majority of people in the world love fairy tales. So it's like, I don't know, it's cute. I love it so much.
And it's not
and I read
something
it,
that
so I loved it.
She doesn't overcome it. She doesn't not have anxiety by the end of the
Right.
book. Because I hate that. For most of us, this is how it's going to be for the rest of our lives. And we just have to do our best. So even though it's a magical fairy tale world, there is no magical cure. She does get some pretty awesome tea that is pretty helpful. Spoiler. But yeah, she doesn't, like, nobody waves a wand and makes her brain work differently.
Yeah, and I think that's
that would be
like
As
also
much
very
as
important.
we wish something like that did exist in the real world.
If it starts to exist in the real world, I'll put it in books. But until then, it's just mean. It'd just be crying me like, I wish I could do that.
And just like put people in depression because it doesn't exist in the real world.
That would be terrible.
Yes.
Yeah, none of that. None of that.
Yeah, it works. Okay, so what was your favorite part about writing it? Writing the book? The Glass Gate. Did we say the name?
This is the Glass Gate, a retelling of Cinderella. The gates are the portals, so they have like this cool portal made out of blown glass, and then there's, these shoes that match it because it's Cinderella, so you had to. My favorite part was coming up with things for my baby dragon to get into.
The baby dragon is the best. I love her so much.
When I was like coming up, when you're like pre-plotting, when you just got like a bunch of random scenes or ideas of things you want to put in the book, it was feeling a little dramatic because we've got like Tiernan, his dad is like an evil king, and he's trying to pretty much like control who Tiernan marries, and is not above like killing people off. No one dies in the book because I don't do that, but people have died in the past to get what he wants. And I was like, this is like sounding dark.
Somebody does die in the book. Okay, it happens in
the
prologue.
In the prologue.
Oh. Yeah, you really started off really
Nobody dies
right in the
except for
feels
the
there.
very first chapter that you
Except
read.
for his mother in like paragraph 4. I'm sorry, this is the problem with fairy tales. Like, parents in fairy tales do not have a good life expectancy.
They really don't.
It's pretty rough. Okay, other than his mom.
Other than that major death.
Yeah, the king did not kill her. Anyway, I don't remember what I was saying. It was looking a little serious, and I was like, I'm not writing a serious book here. Like, I'm writing something feel good, and we need some laughs. So I need to like find something to make laughs. And I was like, obviously a baby dragon.
Obviously.
And like a small one, like a pocket-sized dragon was my theory. I think because I had just read. Have you guys read The Bells?
No.
It's like a dystopian futuristic thing, but they're like everyone's beautiful. Anyway, everyone always talks about it as like this book about beauty standards and blah 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 blah, but nobody talks about the fact that it has like pocket-sized giraffes and like other animals.
Ooh.
The rich people have these like genetically engineered tiny animals, and I was like, I want an elephant the size of a cup. Like, it's amazing. Like, why would you I don't know why nobody explains this when they tell people to read the book, because I would have read it in a heartbeat like years earlier if someone had told me there's tiny giraffes. So just if you want to know, The Bells has tiny animals. Anyway, I think there were tiny dragons in it too, and I was like, I want a tiny dragon. And then I grew up reading Anne McCaffrey. Did you read Anne McCaffrey when you were younger?
I used to, yeah.
Yeah. And so, her and her fire lizards, and Meneley and her, like, 8 whatever baby dragons. And I was always like, I want a baby dragon. But a little one. Riding a dragon would be cool. But you can't just, like, that's, like, the whole story then. You can't just throw it in your purse and go on with your day. So, yeah. And then my children, when I told them I was writing, my oldest is 12 and my middle one is 10, and they helped me come up with many things for the dragons. They decided that Kyo had a sweet tooth and should always be stealing treats, which is hilarious in the book. And I think they also decided that she was going to steal shiny things and maybe even the portaling. I don't know, like a lot of the mischief this dragon gets up to was thought up by my children. So that was pretty fun, and they feel pretty smug about having their ideas in the book. And they made it a lot better. I think sometimes if you want just like random funny stuff, just ask children like, what you should do. And you can like ignore 90% of it, but sometimes you're like, yeah, that is a good idea. She should like chocolate. And then someone told me that lizards don't eat chocolate and that my dragon probably shouldn't either because it would be unhealthy, but
It's a magical dragon. So.
She's a dragon. So I decided, I was like, nope, I'm sorry, I must keep it. I'm not going through and removing all the chocolate. But don't apparently feed chocolate to your lizards, guys.
Good to know.
That's what I learned.
Good to, yeah, exactly. I'm like, let me go feed my lizards that I don't have.
No, but if you get some.
No, it's really funny. My favorite thing about the Harry Potter movies is when they have the trials and they take out the little tiny dragons.
Oh, yeah.
It's like my favorite.
I know,
part.
and
Like,
then
I
they
love
have the
this-
fight with the big dragons, but you're like, excuse me, I feel like those little dragons are a little bit more important than the big ones they have to
Can we
fight
go back
with.
to the little dragons?
Yes. I know, just like I just want one. Anyway, side note. Okay, so Kay, do you have any questions for Hannah?
Yes, I do. Okay, so
course she
first
does.
question. What made you choose to write fairytale retellings, and or you can talk about what made you choose to write fae?
Okay. And why I thought I should combine them. All right. I chose fairytale retellings. Honestly, I was writing a mermaid novel. It was contemporary. It was maybe cool. But it was my first real try at getting through a book. 'Cause before that I had written a chapter here or a chapter there, and then I would just draw stuff instead and never go back to the book. So this one I made it to, I think, 30,000 words, and it was a hot mess, and I knew it was a mess, and then I had a baby, and I went back to look at it, and I was like, I don't know about this book. And I was listening to a podcast with K.M. Shea, and she was talking about writing fairy tales, and I thought, you can do that? And I'm like, of course you can. People have been retelling fairy tales for forever, but I thought that, I love fairy tales, so that sounded super fun. And then also that it would give me some structure so I could actually figure out how to finish my book. Because you kind of know the main points and you kind of know the arc of it. So it kind of gave me a framework to actually complete a novel. Because The Rose Gate is the first novel I ever wrote to the end. And it was because it was a fairy tale. So, and yeah, so that was why I wrote it. And I wrote Fae because I have always loved fairy books. Back, whatever it is, 2 waves of young adult fairy books ago, when it was Holly Black writing Tithe, and the Wicked Lovely books, and all of those books when they came out, I loved them. But I also knew I was not going to write that dark, because as mentioned, not a dark person, not writing dark books. So I was like, I'm going to write Fae the way I like Fae, which is much less stabby than even any of your guys' Fae books. But I love the Celtic mythology, and I just love the idea of being able to find a portal to another realm. It just seems so fun, and the Fae world seemed more fun than anything else. So this gave me a good starting point. But I have found that my readers mostly are fairy tale readers, not Fae readers, because most people who are really into Fae books like the scheming, manipulative, stabby Fae-ness, and I am not writing those at all. And all the rules, my Fae can lie, and you can eat their food, and I was just it's just too much, yeah.
Nice. Okay. This is a random question. From me, I always have to add in the random questions. Okay, so what is your favorite animal, but not just your favorite animal? What's your favorite that you have to take care of? That is it wrong to say that you own? I mean, are your pets something that you own? I don't know. I don't have any pets, so forgive me if that's
my furry
that
roommate.
You have an animal that you have in your home as part of your family. or chickens. Hannah has chickens, so it could be that.
I do have chickens.
Yeah.
Right, because my favorite animal is a red panda, but I believe that is frowned upon to keep as a pet.
Yes.
So
probably yes.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to do that. So I will go with cats. I do love cats. I have a big, giant, fluffy cat named Finnegan, and he is sometimes a pain, but he also sleeps on my bed every night, and I believe he loves me.
And that's a plus.
He at least tolerates
That's a plus
me.
that he sleeps on your bed every night. That would not be a plus for me. That's why I ask.
Well,
Get away.
My husband laughs because my husband works night shifts fairly often. And so I especially in the winter when it's cold, I'm like, come on, Finnegan, let's go to bed, little hot water bottle. Come curl up with me. But if I'm having trouble sleeping, which as mentioned is a lot, I think cats know when you're awake, and they're just like, we're awake. So then he wants to hang out with me, and he, like, comes, like, clawing, like, dunk, 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 like, up the bed, like, closer to my head. Like, I want him to sleep down by my knees or feet. I do not want him, like, purring in my face. But he'll be like, hello, and then I'll just, like, shove him down again, and then he's, like, comes back up again, and I shove him down. And my husband just laughs, because sometimes the cat's, like, somersaulted back, because I'm, like, like, rolling him away.
Oh my
It's like,
gosh.
poor Finnegan. I'm like, he should know better.
That sounds adorable, and also that would still not be a plus for me. I'm like,
it's like the sacrifice I make for having company when my husband.
Yeah, that does make sense though, that you'd want the company if your husband's working night shifts. That's fair. That's a good answer. Okay, last question. What is an interesting writing quirk that you have?
I write my first drafts by dictation while I hike. So I write them in the forest. I started doing that about a quarter of the way into the Glass Gate, so most of it was written in the forest. And I like it because I have 3 children and a husband and a cat. And my house is, like, not very quiet ever, and I have trouble getting into that, like, writing flow. But I have always been someone that while I'm walking, like, story ideas just come to me all the time while I'm walking, and my characters will have conversations with each other while I'm out walking, and I thought I might as well just record them.
Well, plus I feel like the
pretty good.
forest, especially for fae books or fairytale retellings, it's like you can get in the zone, I feel like.
I think so. And sometimes it's been really funny when I go back and listen to the recordings, because I have occasionally run across, like, a bear or something. You hear me, like, ah! And I, like, start, like, clapping really loud to scare the bear
my
off.
gosh.
You just
You
run
know,
across
recording.
bears while you're hiking?
That's like a casual
Yes.
occasion?
Yes.
Wow. Oh my
There are a
gosh.
lot of
I would be
bears.
so scared.
They are black bears. Black bears are pretty chill bears.
What?
If there were grizzly bears, I wouldn't be so casual.
Okay.
I know people are always, like, a little
I
bit
have
afraid.
to say,
but
I
fine.
knew that Hannah did dictation in the woods already, and I've known that for a while, and I did not know she was coming across bears randomly as she was going on these hikes, okay?
This is what the woods is like. I haven't come across any
Some
wolves
woods.
Oh my gosh.
yet. Some woods. I've seen skunks, which are the cutest thing ever. If you've never seen a skunk in real life, like, they're adorable. You just don't startle them. I've seen
No
rabbits.
clapping.
Yeah.
No clapping at the skunks. No, their little tails. Oh, it's so cute. Yeah, I've seen lots of things, but definitely, yeah, plenty of bears. You just learn how to deal with bears when you live in the mountains. Or else you don't go outside, which some people do, but that sounds lame to me. Here's the thing that did scare me, though, is I have never seen a cougar, but I have been stalked by a cougar.
Ooh, don't like.
No, I didn't hike for a little bit after that. I walked past someone's house, because I'll, like, walk through a neighborhood and then into the forest and then, like, back again to, like, the trailhead. I was walking past someone's house and they said, oh yeah, yesterday after you came down the mountain, a minute later a cougar came down after you. And I was like, why did you tell me that? So scary.
That's pretty terrifying.
So cougars,
Yeah, especially if you didn't know.
I'm scared of cougars. Yes.
Yeah, that is scary.
A cougar is not going to take on a full adult, but I don't want to be stalked by one anyway. Please. So bears, no big deal.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. Learn something new every day.
This is the mountains, guys.
I know. It does make me want to visit even more, though, because, like...
It's so fun here.
Yeah, I don't know, it just reminds me of my childhood. Anyway, Tess, do you have any questions for Hannah?
I sure do. So Hannah, this book is a fake dating book, which, fun
Yes.
fact, Hannah started writing her fake dating Cinderella before I started writing mine. And
I'm just much slower.
And when I realized I was going to do fake dating too, because I originally wasn't, I was like, Hannah, I have to do fake dating too. And I was like, oh, I didn't want to step on your toes because you came up with it first. So she did come up with it first, and she was very generous and also being okay with me writing fake dating and fae Cinderella retelling. Oh my
I
question is,
they're so different too. It's so
are.
funny. Like it sounds like they'd be similar, and they're like not at all.
No,
similar.
our stories are very different. But what is your favorite fake dating couple or book or movie?
And I was trying to think about this because I'm sure if you start listing them, like there's probably a lot, because I do love the trope, and I'm sure there's some like good 90s movies in there that I can't remember anymore. But I have recently reread Royally Rearranged, which I keep telling Valia to read, by Emma St. Clair. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those like, it's like fake royals, right? Like in fake countries in Europe, which is hilarious. And she's supposed to have an arranged marriage to this one guy, but he like decided he's not going to do it and has another girlfriend and is like causing all this trouble. And she thought she really liked him, so she's heartbroken. So then, of course, this other duke offers to fake date her to make the other guy jealous so that she can like get him back, right? So that he'll like know what he's missing. But then, of course, that's not how it goes. But it's actually really funny because I guess when she was writing the book, she intended for the girl to go back to the other guy. And then as she was writing it, the like red herring boy just took over the book. And she had to rewrite it. And then he got to get the girl. And he is one of my favorite book boyfriends. So it's adorable. And I don't ever read royals books, like contemporary romance with royals. Mm-hmm. It's not something. But I had read her other books and liked them. And then that one just, I love it. I love the whole like, let's try and make him jealous. and the guy Rafe has like been in love with her since they were like children, but then there's like all these political things, and it's really funny. So it's adorable.
Maybe I'll move it up. I downloaded it. I just haven't started it.
I'm now worried you're not gonna like it, but I love it so much, and I have read it.
Sounds
read
so
it twice.
cute, and I love her books, so it makes
and
sense.
I feel like he's my favorite guy that she's written. So.
Oh, that's saying a lot. She writes really good love interests.
She does write really good love interests. So that's a cute one. And I do think if you usually read fantasy, but don't mind a bit of like contemporary stuff, that you would probably like her book, like that book as well, because it's got that royals vibe. You know, it's a bit of a stretch from reality. There's just no magic.
Well, now I want to read that one too, so I'm putting it on my list as well.
Yes. Please report back. Tell me if you like it.
My next question for you is, who is your favorite Disney princess or Disney movie? Or you can answer both if you want.
Got it. You told me this in advance, and I'm still like, I should know who my favorite Disney princess is. It's not Belle, which I feel like is everybody's answer because she's bookish. But I always thought she was whiny at the beginning. I'm always like annoyed with Belle for getting mad at her provincial life.
Belle is my favorite, so.
Whoa. There you go. Let's have a fight. To think a minute.
I too had a hard time, and I don't even remember if I came back to the podcast after I like couldn't answer this question, but I did. Oh yeah. I did eventually decide who my favorite princess was.
Who's your favorite princess?
Well, now I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure. I think it was Rapunzel. I think that was my favorite. I think it was Rapunzel. I don't remember what the question was. If it was my favorite Disney movie or like what I think, because I get kind of crazy about it because I'm like, oh, but I love this Disney movie, but I have a problem with this, and I love this Disney movie or Disney story, but I have a problem with this. But like Rapunzel to me is just perfection. Like I love it so much. There's like not much I have a problem with in that one.
The cutest thing ever. It's true. I do like Cinderella, honestly. When I rewatch Cinderella with my kids, I'm like, she's pretty fun. And you know, like you think she's overly sweet when you remember it, and then when you watch it, she is a little salty.
Yeah, she's not very sweet at all, actually. She's kind of mean. But she's also, like, mean, you know, she gets her venting out inappropriate ways, you know, she's not mean to their faces, that kind of thing.
It's kind of funny. Yeah. So I like her. And I like, do you like Anna and Elsa too? I think they're fun, and I love their sister dynamic. So they kind of go together, though. I don't know if I like one of them more than the other.
Oh, that would just be rude. You can't.
It would be rude.
Them up and pick just one. They're a team.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Later on, I'll be like, wait, I know who my real favorite princess is.
Yeah, you're gonna do the same thing I did. In like 10 minutes after we're done the podcast, you're gonna be like,
wait a minute.
Let's get back on and I can get my answer.
Let me know and I'll put it in the
At the
on
end.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
be like, here you go. Okay, so can you tell us what you're working on next?
Okay, first I have to write a very short story that I told people was already written in the back of the book.
Oh, nice.
So if
nice.
you're reading my book next and you get to the end and you're like, wow, I want to read this short story Hannah said was for free for your newsletter, I have to write it still. It's going to be very good, I promise.
And maybe you'll write it really fast. Who knows?
Maybe I will. And then after that, the next one in the series is going to be Snow White, which is Neve and... Not Nev. I have my own character's name wrong. But I was looking them up and I'm like, whatever. Nev and Killian's story. But then last night, in the middle of the night, I had an idea for a book. So, we'll see.
Yes.
Which I
Yes, we
messaged
will.
them about at 2:30 in the morning. I was like, guys, I can't sleep. I have this book idea.
The book idea is solid, by the way. It's really good.
Yes.
So I won't
And it would
be
be
mad
short.
if you write one of those books.
I think anyone, who reads my books would like it. It would still be in the same world. It would just be shorter and cozier and a little more long and drawn out with the romance, which is funny to say about short. It would be a series. I'll tell you more later when I've got it.
What are you writing
Tease!
next?
Now you've teased everybody. Everyone's going to be so excited.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Okay, so let's talk about what you're reading, because you read
I do
all
read
kinds of things. So
a
tell
lot.
us, tell us something you're reading, something good.
Well, I'm reading this book about shifters by Valia.
Wait,
I had to stop.
wait, you're still reading that?
See,
No, I'm
the
just kidding.
problem is that Tess asked me to beta read her Snow
Yeah.
White book, so then I had to read her Snow White book.
It's okay. I forgive you. It's fine.
And then I had a
I'm not
library
bitter
book
at
come
all.
on the email, which was Portrait of a Scotsman, which was awesome.
You finished
and
it?
Not clean, by the way.
I'm
Yes,
all in that. I'll
yes.
be okay with it as long as it's not
It's
like
good. You'll love it.
it's right up my alley.
And then I'm also reading Emma St. Clair's new release.
The buy-in.
It's got the
or
buy-in.
something?
Yes, the buy-in, which is like a grumpy boss romance. It's good times.
Love it.
So.
Love it.
So you're reading like a lot.
She
I
always
think
reads a lot.
I think I've got like 3 more on my Kindle that I'm supposed to be reading. I feel like there's a few. It's
makes
it's my mood. It's like I am not in the mood for this exact thing. I want something else, and then I switch it.
I'm the same way, so I can understand.
And then I have to remember to go back to them.
I
It
only
works.
ever read one book at a time. I think it's cool though that we all have like our own different systems, you know, that
I wish I could read one book at a time. My brain is like, this is linear. That's funny. No one knows. No one knows why it works this way.
Yeah, it's all right. It works for us. So here we are. At least we're reading. That's
People ask me how many books I'm reading, and I'm like, I don't actually know.
what's the question?
More than 4 and less than 10.
There you go.
Ugh.
That's a good one. Okay. Well, I think we'll wrap it up here. Thank you so much for being here as the guest of honor. I'm excited we finally got to like hear all about
Yes,
your
it was exciting. I'm excited
writing
that I
and
finally
books.
finished a book to talk about.
Yes.
The first book I've completed since we started the podcast.
Hey, you know what? It's worth the wait because it's adorable and it's gonna hit you all in the feels, and you should all check it out. I will link it below so you guys have that. Also, I will leave Hannah's social medias and everything else as well, so you can have that. Make sure to check out our Patreon and our Instagram at Reading Queens Pod. And then also, before you go, please follow us on your favorite podcast platform and leave a rating or a review. And then come back. Next Wednesday, we will have a repeat episode because it's 4th of July, so I am not making the girls work. And after that, we'll have a new episode on Wednesday. So yeah, have a good one. Thank you for being here. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.